talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.
Welcome back to another episode of Caged In. I'm your host, Chris DiCarlo. Today we got a very special guest making his debut on the show. It's Colin Silva. How are we doing today, brother?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I know you got a big fight coming up. It's your the sequel to your debut, man. July 20th, it's going down. Cage Titan 66. You're taking on Eder Gomes, who is also 1-1, just 1-0, just like yourself. Of course, before we get into that one, since this is your first time on the show, I want to dive into your background a little bit, get to know you a little bit better as a person, man. So off rip, where were you born and raised, and what was growing up like for you?
I was born and raised in Dayton, Massachusetts. It's a small little town. Not much to do out there, so most of the time was spent just, out in the woods with the boys, riding dirt bikes, doing that kind of stuff.
There you go, man. And were you an athlete at all growing up? Did you play any sports throughout school? And, if so, which ones?
I was involved in pretty much every sport you could be in growing up. My dad started me out real young in football, flag football, all the way up through high school. I competed in football and hockey, baseball. So, yeah, I was definitely all over the place with the sports growing up.
There you go, man. That's awesome. And, what was your introduction to MMA as a sport? Do you remember like the first time you saw it on TV? What fighters kind of got you involved in the sport? And then tell me about like the story that got you into the gym for the first time.
So I remember watching guys like Chuck Liddell and all those old school guys with my dad. I'd sit on the couch. I've always been in love with fighting, and unfortunately growing up, I used it and down all the wrong avenues, and I got in a lot of trouble fighting in school and stuff. And then finally I was just like, I'm going to do this the right way. And that's when I walked into the gym and signed up and started training.
That's awesome, man. And, this is going to be your second fight coming up, your second MMA fight. For the people that maybe haven't seen you fight before, how would you describe your fight style to them?
Definitely a very aggressive fight style. I like to come forward a lot, make it a good show. I know what the fans want to see. They don't want to see guys in there playing it safe. So that's definitely not what I'm there to do. But I'm also going to try to be as technical as possible. And I'd like to think that all the guys that fight out of BTT Taunton are some pretty well-rounded guys. So I think we have the choice to decide where the fight's going to go.
There you go, man. Let's get into your MMA debut. It was at Cage Titan 63 where you took on Igor Zaltzman. You were both 0-0 at the time. You go out there, you get the fight finished in the second round via second round KO, TKO. With that being your first fight, man, did anything surprise you? Anything about the pre-fight prep, the walkout, the fight itself? Any surprises there for you in your debut?
Definitely the initial adrenaline dump. I mean, everyone tells you about it, but it's nothing that you can really prepare for until you're in there and you feel it for yourself.
Of course. And let's talk about the fight a little bit itself, man. In round 2, you hit him with that big right hand, dropped him clean. Talk to me about the sequence to the finish, and then how did it feel to go out there in your debut and get your hand raised the way that you did?
It felt incredible, but I think right around that time that I was able to get the finish, I'd say maybe even 20, 30 seconds before it is when I really started to settle in the fight and the butterflies went away and I started to kind of be myself. And it was really late in the fight for that to happen. I'm kind of disappointed that I couldn't get it under control sooner, but I was able to get the finish still, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, man, it's definitely an electric performance. The celebration was great. You were hyped on top of the cage and everything, man. Just talk to me about the emotions post-fight. How did that feel for you once, your hand got raised and everything had settled for you?
A lot of great emotions. My father was there. I've been watching my dad battle cancer for the last year or so, and he's been doing it like a true warrior. And to be able to go out there and put on the performance that I did in front of him felt better than anything in the world. I plan to do it again.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't beat emotions like that. That's for sure, man. So congratulations once again. When you look back on the fight now that you've had time to reflect, is there anything that when you watch the fight back, that you wish that you did differently, or anything that you wish you could have changed about that fight?
Yeah, definitely. Going into this next one, it's going to be all about my mental headspace, and you're going to see a lot different person than you did in the last fight. Just right from the first bell, it's going to be all about staying calm and just doing what I train to do, because that first fight, with the emotions the way I let them get to me, I feel that all my training went right out the window that first round, and I was just in there brawling at that point. So I definitely expect a much different performance and a completely different fight coming up.
For sure, man. After the debut that you had with the fight ending the way it did and your performance being so exciting, I'm sure I can speak for everybody else inside the hall that we're very excited to see, what you're going to do in this second one for sure. Let's talk about your training camp a little bit, man. I know you were part of BTT Taunton. How has it been there since you've been a part of that team? And what are some of the key aspects that those guys have taught you about MMA?
It's an incredible environment to train in. We have some of the highest level jiu-jitsu and grappling around, but then we also have guys like Jayden Curley and Joe Giannetti, who we're all fighting together. We're all teammates training together, and I think we just really complement each other really well with, the different things that we bring to the table.
Of course, man. And, you mentioned them, Jay Curley and Joe Giannetti, two training partners. All three of you guys are fighting on the same card. Having guys like that in the gym with you, man, what have you picked up from them specifically?
Well, Jaden's got the insanely high level of wrestling. JoJo's got really technical striking. I mean, I think we're all well-rounded fighters, like I said before, but there's definitely a little something that each one of us brings to the table that helps sharpen the other guy up a little bit.
For sure, man. You definitely got a bunch of killers in that gym. I've heard nothing but high and great things about the grappling department at BTT Taunton. And, it seems like every aspect of MMA is really coming together for you guys over there. So very excited to see how all three of you put it together on July 20th. Are you cross-training anywhere, or is everything just at BTT Taunton for you?
I box at two other gyms, and yeah, that's really it. I got a couple boxing gyms. I got a wrestling gym, Brick Road in Rainham, that just unfortunately closed the doors. But other than that, yeah, it's BTT Taunton's my main gym.
There you go, man. All right, brother, let's jump into it. Cage Titan 66, you're taking on Eder Gomes, who is 1-0 as an amateur. What do you know about this kid as an opponent, man? And then how do you feel about his game?
I know the gym he trains out of. I have a buddy who trains out of that gym too, so I kind of know what to expect here. I can see he likes to strike, and I think that's gonna be a good show for the crowd on July 20th. I like to see,
Definitely.
and I know what the fans want to see, and I think we're both gonna go out there and give it to him, and that's it. That's what I know about him. I know he likes to strike, and I like to strike, and
Yeah, for sure, man. You had a very exciting debut. Did you have a chance to see his MMA debut at Cage Titans as well? Because his debut is also very exciting.
I did. I seen it. I wasn't too impressed by it. I think, with all due respect to Rich St. Pierre, I think his opponent gave him a false reality of what takes place in that cage and what's going to take place on July 20th in that cage, because I'm definitely not backing into a corner with my hands up, and I think he's going to find out the reality of the situation on July 20th.
There you go, man. And, stylistically, when you break this fight down, skill for skill, discipline versus discipline, where do you see yourself having the advantages versus him?
To be honest with you, I think I can bring the fight wherever I want it, and he's going to see that when we get out there. I don't think I'm lacking in any department with this fight, so I think it's going to be just
Yeah.
wherever I
Just
decide.
Yeah, man, I feel you, man. Wins everywhere for you. Hopefully, that's something that takes place for you on July 20th. When this will only be your second MMA fight, man. What improvements can we see from you on July 20th versus the Colin Silva that we saw in your debut in January?
The sloppy overhands and brawling and just letting the emotions get to me like I did last fight. That's definitely going to be the main improvement that you're going to see out there. A much more clean, tight performance from start to finish, I think.
There you go. And in your debut, you seem to be, the stronger fighter in that fight, like by a large margin. You're a pretty stocky, you're a pretty big dude for the lightweight division. Is that something that you consider to be an advantage for you versus guys at 55?
I think I'm definitely gonna have the strength advantage at 55 in most of the cases. I know the kid wrestled a little bit in high school, from what I hear. I'd like to see how strong his wrestling really is. We'll find out on July 20th how strong his wrestling really is. But I think definitely strength-wise, I'll have the advantage in that department.
There we go. And you know the energy in Plymouth is always super electric inside the Memorial Hall. What can the fans expect from you once those cage doors lock on July 20th?
I think the same answer that everyone gives you, pure violence, but definitely I'm always looking to give the fans what they want. We all know what they want. They want to see knockouts. They want to see violent finishes, and that's the game plan, to go out there and leave it all in the cage.
There you go, man. This card, is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. Your teammate Joe Giannetti in the main event, in a fight that a lot of people are waiting to see for years. The co-main event, Valdina and Smythe. From top to bottom, this card is absolutely stacked. Does that add any excitement for you, knowing that you're going to be a part of a card of this magnitude on a regional scene like this?
Absolutely. I have to hold myself to a much higher standard going out there on July 20th. I know that, I was picked to fight on this card. There was probably a list of guys waiting to get on. And for that reason, I feel entitled to go out there and give the performance that the people are looking for. And it's an honor to fight on the same card as most of these guys are in the first place. So definitely.
100%, man. For sure, man. I'm super excited. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a blast. I think the atmosphere inside the Memorial Hall is going to be crazy. It's always electric, man, but I feel like on this card specifically, it's going to be, out of this world. So very excited to see everybody fight, man, but very excited that you're making your return to Cage Titans on this card specifically. All right, man. Before I get you out of here, brother, where can the people come find you on social media if they want to come follow your MMA journey, man? Any sponsors that you want to shout out? Now's your time, man. Plug anything that you got.
Colin Silva on Instagram. You can look me up on Instagram under my name. I'd like to shout out my sponsor, Sharp Barber Lounge, and BTT Taunton for all the support throughout the fight camps, and Tyler Pimentel and Jair. They've been a huge help throughout my MMA career. Jojo and Jayden are going to kill it. We've been putting some hard work in, so I look forward to all of us going out there and having a good night on July 20th.
There you go, man. Colin, I appreciate the time, brother. Thanks for, coming on the show, making, your debut on the show. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. Best of luck on July 20th, man. I'll see you inside the building.
Thanks for having me. It was an honor.
Down for the count and he can't even talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.